The opioid epidemic is one of the biggest crises affecting our country, and it's hitting America hardest in rural communities, particularly in places like District 12. Few of us haven't been personally touched by this, whether it be ourselves suffering through an opioid addiction or one of our loved ones. We need to have a multifaceted approach to deal with this complex and serious problem. It starts by instructing doctors and pharmaceutical companies to only prescribe these medications as a last resort and to criminally go after doctors that either criminally or negligently prescribe this medication to people. We also need to be having these doctors have alternatives through innovation, both natural and synthetic, to deal with pain, including but not limited to things such as medical marijuana. We should also be instructing doctors to be extremely careful before they prescribe this medication to the young. Many people that are addicted to opioids later in life suffered an injury when they were in school and were prescribed some sort of painkiller or opioid. This leads to them later in life being addicted to this medication. If we could solve these pain problems with other natural medications or with lifestyle changes when people are younger, it may avoid addiction problems into the future. We also need to be encouraging programs for rehabilitation. People that are addicted to opioids often engage in criminal activity and they should be incarcerated. But especially when incarcerated, it shouldn't be punitive. It should also be a real rehabilitation procedure that could get people back to becoming productive members in society. Oftentimes, these aren't hardened criminals. They're just people that are suffering a low point in their life, and we need to work with them to be able to get off of this addiction and back to being in society. Lastly, no matter what we do with addiction problems, whether they be opioid or otherwise, they will always persist unless we have a healthy, robust economy. We need to do things to bring jobs back to District 12. That includes things like lowering regulations and tax burdens that will encourage job production and encourage people to have meaningful jobs. Study after study shows that when there is meaningful employment, people are less likely to resort to addiction problems. If we start using these multifaceted approach, I believe that together we could start to really solve the scourge that is the opioid crisis.